Alright, let's do this. Saints Row, no, not that one. That one has been out for a few weeks now, and I really wanted to take my time to get my head around it and see if it lives up to the much beloved series it's rebooting, or if it's another shallow open world game with not much going on under the surface. Well, for anyone just wanting the TLDW version of this video, just look at the title and thumbnail. It's the second one. And I should mention that I received a free key for the purposes of making this video, and I'll try to keep spoilers to a minimum, but for anyone particularly sensitive to that kind of stuff, I'd say leave it here. So, first things first, we jump in with a cutscene showing a huge party at your clearly ultra-successful criminal organization, and partway through we're thrown into what is a fairly extensive character creator, with plenty of choices to be made. Being a Saints Row game, I made my character the most douchey version of me I possibly could, though I kept the bulge. But the mood quickly changes as we flash to the party being wrecked and our main character being buried alive. Now fade to one of the most cliché storytelling mechanics ever. A few months earlier. Now we're on our first day of the job working for Marshall Defense Industries, effectively a private military organization, as we hunt down a notorious criminal. Now this opening mission acts as a tutorial, giving you the basics of how to shoot, move, and use the occasional ability. Because yeah, that is about all there is to this game. The first mission serves to be about as generic as it could possibly be. Waves of bad guys to kill, check. Escort section, check. Turret section, check. Getting separated from the rest of your squad, check. And boss fight where all the actual cool stuff happens in the damn cutscenes, you better believe that's a check. I honestly don't care about this boring ass shooting gallery you've got me playing here. Let me fly the jet or something. Anyway, once you struggle through that, you're now finally free and into the open world. Now the old settings of Stillwater and Steelport are gone, and replaced with a much more southern feeling Santo Ileso, which at first glance appears to be a decent enough city for our criminal empire to begin in. It's not a massive map, but plenty big enough, and it has distinct feeling areas, from the built-up city area to much more rural and quiet, almost desert locations. The first thing you'll notice though is that the graphics let it down almost immediately. Look even a few meters ahead of you and you'll see a huge amount of pop-in, and landmarks in the distance that look like they're made out of Play-Doh. I should mention as well that this is on PC at the highest possible settings. Anyway, after a quick drive home we're introduced to our three roommates, who might just be the least likable people in the world. I mean, when your most notable character trait is that you never wear a shirt, you probably need to reassess your life. Maybe I'm just getting old, but they all feel like what a 60-year-old executive thinks young people are like. And hey, wouldn't you know it, two of your roommates are members of rival gangs, while you're a member of Marshall, which effectively acts as the third gang. But don't worry, they'd never sell you or each other out to their gangs, because friendship is just so much more important. Like, seriously, this theme of friendship conquers all is a constant throughout a story all about killing your way to fame and riches. Eventually though, you all get screwed over by your individual gangs, and so you decide to start your own criminal empire to conquer the city. So, now that we've got an idea of what's going on here, what's the gameplay like? Well, most missions will follow a fairly similar sequence. Drive halfway across the bloody map, and kill a bunch of people when you get to your destination. No, I'm serious, that's it. There's even a mission about halfway through the game where you and your friends go out for a bonding day, a team-building exercise, and promise there'll be no killing. And then every spot you go to ends up with a bunch of enemies for you to kill. I kinda think what they were going for here is that the killing is actually what bonds the team, but what it actually is that Saints Row 2022 only has one trick: shoot everything in sight. And it's not even good shooting. Guns feel inaccurate, the abilities are boring, enemies are bullet sponges, and there's just no really interesting weapons like in previous games. Sure, there's stuff like an electric blaster, but it's not nearly as fun as the dubstep gun or the marital aid bat from previous games. And that might be the main place that Saints Row 2022 falls down for me, as a comparison to the old games. Now, I know a lot of people didn't like the wacky direction Saints Row went in with 3 and particularly 4, but for me, Saints Row 4 at least was a wild, crazy mess, and I loved it. Say what you want about Saints Row 4, it was fun, and it didn't let logic or sensitivity stop it. Having bloody superpowers and flying around the city just offered so much more entertainment than what we have here. The wingsuit definitely does not make up for it. And hey, if you try to do anything a bit more creative other than the stand there and shoot at the enemies tactic,
get back to the mission area.
I mean, are you kidding me right now? It's actively stopping me from having fun, and all the driving about just feels like padding the game out. There was even once where I stood at the start of a mission location, and the game physically moved me away, so I had to run back to where I was to start the mission. This game loves wasting your time, and it's why it feels like a much better experience when you unlock the VTOL late in the game, and you can just quickly fly to wherever you need to be. Now, there are a few other mission types, but about 90% of them will either involve shooting or driving, or shooting and driving, with one of the short list of exceptions being insurance fraud, which, while still fun, has just been brought back from previous games. So, in this map filled with icons of things to do, there's almost nothing I feel like I want to do. And I think for that reason I never really felt like I became familiar with the map. In other games like Yakuza 0, I know every back alley and street, because there's something unique to do on pretty much every one of them. Now, I know that map is way smaller, but here, why do I ever care where I am? Because it's just another place to shoot people in. The most fun I had in the entire game was a series of missions where we're role-playing a citywide battle for supremacy, in a Game of Thrones style struggle for power, with several great houses going up against each other to claim the crown of the Dust King. Even here, most of the missions were shooting enemies, but at least it had some character. The rest of the game is just so dull. Even the rival gangs, which are supposed to have a personality of their own, I just don't care about. They're either very, very boring, or so over the top that it seems ridiculous. The devs seem to have invested a lot in players wanting to customize their weapons, cars, crew, and perhaps most importantly their base. But frankly, I have to be invested in the actual gameplay before I start caring about the extra bits around the outside. So yeah, I put up a few trophies of my achievements in the game, but I never really felt any ownership or pride in it. The base, though, does actually have a practical purpose, and it's for running your criminal empire. Or, in other words, placing down a few businesses in the city that unlock side activities and earn a little bit of passive income. But again, these activities were dull on the whole, and there's nothing here that I cared enough about to spend my money on, so why do I care about earning it? Now, if you've heard anything about Saints Row 2022, you've probably heard about the bugs, and yeah, there's a lot here. Whether it's little things like disappearing NPCs, or massive major issues like complete hard crashes to the desktop, it's all here. And it just seems standard for games to release broken at the moment, and with this one not getting much love from players, I really hope they still want to fix it. I should say, however, that performance on the whole wasn't too bad, but even here I'm trying to come up with things I don't mind about the game, and I'm struggling. Overall though, you might be surprised to hear that I'm not going to say that Saints Row 2022 is a bad game. It has functional shooting and in theory plenty of things to do across its open world. So no, it's not technically bad, I guess? It's kinda worse than that. It's bland. It's boring. It has no personality, no character, and feels like it's been designed by committee to not offend anyone or stand out. And that goes totally against what Saints Row means to me. It didn't make me laugh and it didn't make me excited to play. There's nothing here to get your teeth into and enjoy. There's no hook to keep you coming back to play more. And if I wasn't planning on making this video, there's no way I would have kept playing till the end. So as much as I wanted to enjoy a new addition to the Saints Row series, and as much as I hate being negative about a game that I know people have worked hard on, when it comes down to should you buy this, well, there's better third-person shooters, there's better open-world games, and there's better Saints Row games. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.